Hey, welcome. You're in for a treat because, you already know why you're here. This Ask a Psychic panel is full of, and I'm not talking about myself but amazing psychics, amazingly talented people who've been doing this, developing themselves, working to help other people for decades now, for all of us combined. So, welcome, and we're not doing readings. We're only answering your questions about how to develop or our experiences with our psychic abilities. So if you have questions about that, we are happy to take those. And raise your hand, and she'll see you from the back, and she'll take a mic to you when you're ready. And so,
real quick introduction.
Yep, we're going to do introductions, and we'll start with Jennifer. Sorry, at the end.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jennifer Martin. I've been a professional psychic since 2012, and I specialize in tarot readings, in past life readings, and I'm also a pet psychic, so I help people understand what their animals are thinking and feeling.
Hi, I'm Megan. I've been doing this a lot, not nearly as long as Jennifer has, but it's been a lifelong growth, and I'm just excited to be reading. I do mostly intuitive tarot. I also work as a death doula, so help a lot of people with in those ways with, what gifts I have and what I've been working on. So thank you.
I'm Kathy. I began playing with cards for myself just because they were beautiful, but if you sit with the deck for very long, you'll start receiving messages. So it's been about 2010 that I started playing with cards for friends. Otherwise, I make jewelry. I'm a healing practitioner, massage therapist, so I've got 15 years running energy intuitively for healing.
No, you're good. I am Lola Hardy. I'm an astrologer and a psychic medium. I've been doing it for 2012-ish, I think, professionally. And I'm a psychic medium, and I'm also a hypnotherapist. I'm like, what's that word called that we do?
Yes.
And I also do, yes, she's also that. I also do healing energy stuff and do past life readings, things like that.
I'm Ken. I am a spirit worker and what we would probably call a shaman of the northern traditions, being grounded in Norse or Anglo-Saxon as my center, my worldview. And it took me a really long time to figure out that what I was doing was the same thing as psychic, because I was told that was weird and wrong. And so now it's my pleasure to always work with people who have the same belief, who I can help change that in them, and they can accept that part of them and use it for their own personal growth. So that's what I love to do. Did y'all have a question yet?
So right now.
She's giving, yep, here we come. That's how it goes for me, too.
Angry man.
Yeah.
When will I get married?
Oh, so today we're only answering questions about gifts. We're not doing any psychic readings today for people. I'm sorry.
You can come see us at the booth.
There,
Yes.
at the Modern Mystics booth, just downstairs on this side, right by the stairway, you can find the Modern Mystics, and several of the wonderful readers who are up here will be giving readings there at that booth. So please stop by.
And they're all of you have read for me or worked with me before. Yeah, they're all amazing. I can testify. Amen.
Right across from the men's restroom downstairs.
Yeah.
Have any of you had visuals?
Starting to go down.
What's your question?
What would that look like?
Can you give me a little bit more about what you're asking. Do I see things?
Yeah. Do you see visages apart from yourself, or are you seeing in your mind's
In your mind's eye? Yes and yes. For me, yes and yes. It just depends on usually the spirit or the entity, the being's strongest ability, and how much energy they have to do that, and whether or not, honestly, if I catch them a little off guard. I see them more if I catch them off guard than if I'm working with people. The energy is just a little different. But that was me.
Are we going down? Okay. Yes and yes, also. And I don't know if you're asking specifically if we see spirits or like all other psychic information also.
You have a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a broad question, broader than you think.
It's a good question.
So I'm going to answer it a little bit differently just because you already got that, and mine is similar. But also through meditation, if I will set an intention, I will often see things, or dreaming. We can get lots of information that way. But I do see spirits, and for me, one of the ways I like to explain it to people is sometimes it's like almost... We're a three-dimensional plane, and if we were to be on a three-dimensional plane, we would look flat, like a drawing on a piece of paper, right? So it's almost like that. The information's coming through, and so sometimes it doesn't look all clear, like a person. You might see a color, hear a sound. All five senses can give you that information, but I do see spirits, and some I have seen like you sitting there. They're that clear. Some are less clear. So I think their ability to manifest has a lot to do with whether or not you can see them. And I have seen in my mind's eye also.
Learning to not see was one of the first things I had to do, because 12, 13 years old, when I first popped open, many people, it's hormonal, that you go through a shift and you're just wide open to everything. I was really panicked because I couldn't tell the difference between physical world in front of me and the psychic information happening at the same time. Because once you're willing, or I would say you're noticed as someone they can talk to, they want to come talk to you. And so actually there's lots of skills for back up and having boundaries and office hours so that you can live a normal life. I didn't have people around me to help me, so I just learned to cold turkey stop. And then it was after I had my first child and I needed my intuition back as a parent that I started opening up again. Okay, and so I don't want to hear things either. So my agreement now with people is we're going to start with minimum effective communication, which is little tiny things. And if I say, please make it more clear, please turn it up, please be louder, please be more obvious, there are those levels that we can go to.
Yeah, and a lot of what I have to say is similar to what Kathy said. Was I saw visions early on in my life, and I was like, no, this is not happening. I don't want to see these. And clairvoyance is the ability to be able to see things. It's clear seeing. And something that I've noticed, I feel like I don't see like an individual or visions of actually here on this plane, but a lot of the times I'll get like a feeling like, okay, that chair's occupied, okay. But something else that like clairvoyance helps me with so much is when I ask for a sign, I'll be like, let me see like 5 orange cars, and that'll be like confirmation that this is supposed to happen this way. And that's how I'll use clairvoyance in a way that I kind of have control over it, and I can kind of start testing and seeing if that's what works for me, and that's how my gifts decide to show up. So
I am not clairvoyant at all, nor do I wish to be. I get things dropped into my head sometimes, especially when I'm talking to animals, because animals like to talk in mental pictures. but they get dropped into my head. So it's more like claircognizance, like just knowing something, than it is seeing anything. I think it would freak me out to see people all the time, that kind of thing. So yeah, I feel things and I just kind of know things for no reason. That's kind of how my gift works. Yeah, I think, yeah, it is. She asked, is it empathic? And yeah, I do think it's partially empathic, and it's just my language. I didn't, like Kathy, I didn't have a lot of people telling me what all that meant and all of that when I was growing up. But I took a Reiki class, which is an energy healing technique, and I realized once I was doing Reiki with other people that was kind of my language. Not Reiki itself, but just energy is my language. So when I'm picking up information, I'm sort of connecting to the energy of something instead, or a person or a situation or that kind of thing, than I am seeing anything. That's me, though.
Real quick, I love what you brought up about it being 12 to 13. I thought mine was tied to being and having the priesthood. I thought all of that, all my psychic stuff, all my abilities were tied to that because that's kind of what I was told. So sometimes we go through those rites of passage or changes in body and things like that, and we get these things open up, but we're not really sure what to do with them or who to attribute them to. So I thought when I left the church they were going to go away, but they got stronger. So they were being filtered. Yeah, I think that's an interesting, that was an interesting thing to bring up. So
We had someone mention at the last psychic panel that they were having ketamine treatment and that they have wild dreams and intuition as they're going through that process. So yes, any chemical change in your diet and your medications will impact your dreaming and your capacities either to enhance or mute.
Next question. Over here.
How many of you feel like your gifts were inherited?
For sure.
She said, how many of you feel like your gifts were inherited?
I would also add that at this point, if you're alive on the planet, you are in the bloodline of people who survived to have children who survived. There's been intuition helping people avoid the plague or avoid the war. Don't get on that boat that's going to sink. So yeah, all of us alive, our culture hasn't taught us what to do with these things, and it becomes neurosis.
I'm also going to be really boring and say that I do think my parents were very intuitive, but I think everyone has intuition. Not everybody wants to develop it. Not everybody, and there is a train of thought that's like, you're either gifted or you're not. And I don't really believe that because I didn't learn about any of this till I was like in my 30s, even though looking back, I have a lot of different experiences that were really intuitive. But I feel like everyone has intuition. So I don't, and you can develop it, you cannot develop it. You can develop it in certain ways. It usually has kind of like a go-to method, like we were talking about whether or not it was vision or feeling or knowing or hearing. It usually comes through your senses. So I was kind of like yes and no. So I was like, do I put my hand up? I don't know. I feel like everybody has intuition, and if you want to develop it, and if you're supposed to develop it, I feel like it kind of taps you on the shoulder till you do. But I also think there are some people that don't really care about that, and that's totally fine. My sister is very like logical, and when her children have any kind of like issues, she's like, you should call your Aunt Jennifer because she knows about this stuff, and I really don't. And I had a niece who was really, really clairvoyant, and people were just showing up in her room at night, and she was like 9, and so I was like, just tell them to leave. But anyway, so I don't know. I think it's a matter of whether or not you want to develop things. I don't feel special because I can do this. I feel like there's absolutely no difference between me and any of you, except that I probably have a little more confidence because I have developed it so much. Does that make sense?
I want to add really quick. I'm an astrologer, and I work with a lot of people that are like, how do I start getting my psychic gifts? And if you can just get your astrology chart, there's tons of free ones online. What you're looking for is your elemental balance. Whatever your highest element is, water, earth, fire, air, your psychic gifts will often manifest first through the easiest element for you. So if it's water, you might dream a lot. If it's air, you might be clairvoyant. You might see things. If it's earth, you might get an in-body feeling. If it's fire, you'll just have this, I shouldn't get on the boat. It's inspiration. It's an impulse. So I don't know if that answers a little bit of what you're looking for. Okay.
I know plenty of people that just use it for work. So like computers, programming, they have complete inspiration. They wake up knowing the solution for work, and they turn it off the rest of their lives.
Sometimes the tap on the shoulder is a 2x4. And the reason I say that is because I think we're used to seeing that story on television. We're used to hearing that story. And so it has, if it's not something big and dramatic, we think that it's not, I'm not intuitive because it wasn't a 2x4 that hit me upside the head. And so I think we tend to, gauge our own abilities based upon that. And to be honest, I don't think everyone's gift is. I don't think everyone is supposed to be able to do it for other people, but you sure as shit should be able to do it for yourself. And that's, I think, what all of us here work with people on, is them having confidence in themselves to be able to listen to your instinct, listen to your intuition, trust it, and move forward in life from there. And we're here to help you if you get a little confused from time to time, because we've all seen each other as a psychic. I don't know what to do. What's going on?
And when you talk about heritage, like there's so much in your ancestors that if you kind of follow what paths they might have walked on, or if you choose to work with them or like reach out to them, even if you're like parents or family who are here aren't ones who are going to lean into that intuitive side, if you reach out to your ancestors, is a really easy way to work with someone safe who will probably have some really good advice to how it applies to you. So.
Next question.
So you've already answered the one question I had about everybody can do this. It doesn't make any of us special. I myself am a psychic. Does not got the education you guys got, but doesn't mean that I'm as good as you, or I just know how to work. I do it my own way. So what's your thoughts, the whole board, on the energy that we're talking about, energy, and the energy compounded with touch? When you're touching somebody and you're working your energy.
I think you have to understand connection first. I think you have to understand that there's physical connection, there's energetic connection, for me, this is me, and spiritual connection. If you believe that everything is divine and divinely given, then all energetic connection is spiritual connection, but I don't see it that way. So I think you have to understand what connection is, how to connect in each of those different ways, and then start playing. It should be like trying to figure out grandma's cookie recipe by having a whole bunch of recipe things out on the counter and playing, because you're not going to figure out how touch works to increase or decrease your connection with someone until you try it. And I'm very scientific when it comes to this, because I think you need to keep a good record. I think you need to make recipe cards for what works and what doesn't. You need to keep track of these things, and you're always testing it. So I'm a little bit, yes, I know, you agree, yes. I'm very much of the mindset that you treat it like a lab. Touch isn't necessary for me. And sometimes my physical senses get in the way. And sometimes they don't. And I would say more than not, my physical senses interacting diminish my ability to interpret the energy correctly because it's too much input. And it's not necessarily input that's helping me. So I prefer not. But I can do it that way. Just depends on what I'm doing, but I prefer not. I do long distance readings across the planet, and it doesn't matter. But if I get someone sitting next to me, and we touch, that is such an intense input that it can override the sensitive and subtle energies that I'm trying to look for.
Sure. Clairtangency is what I've heard, that like psychic information through touching something or someone. I feel like it works a little bit better for me when it's like an object that I'm trying to pick up the energy on. Sometimes holding it, touching it will help whatever message is going to come through from it. For the most part, when it's people, I agree a lot with what Ken said of sometimes that like escalation to like a need for a physical touch can kind of overwrite a lot more of those subtle undertones. And yeah, I think that's most of it. That's where that thought stops.
Kathy's the expert at this, so I'm like, Kathy?
So psychometry is the name that I learned for the like touching into something, and I grew up in my great-grandmother's house, so initially just being overwhelmed by everything and all the stories was normal. I thought everybody lived that way. And then I found out with my daughter that she absolutely hated like going to Goodwill DI to look at clothing because she didn't want to touch anything. She didn't want all the information. And it hadn't even occurred to me that she might have some of the gifts I have until she was like, please, can we never go there again? Because a secondhand shop is full of a lot of information, and it made me realize that I do a lot of clearing things when I touch them, and that it almost felt like I had assigned myself the job to go places that are heavy and thick and clear them, because I can. And then as I became a massage therapist, I was initially very overwhelmed and, caught in the what's it called? Codependent, self-sacrificing, I'm going to help you. And so at this point in my life and my career, I don't work with everyone. I am much more particular about who can come to see me. Because I have to be in a good place. I'm doing a lot more self-care so that I can differentiate what's mine, what's relevant to my life, and then when I show up to work, for me, putting on a name tag is a big piece of how I differentiate for myself. Okay, I'm working, and then when I take off the name tag, I close down a lot of my skills and abilities so that I can function as a regular human person and go to the grocery store. So it's definitely a muscle that you learn to turn on and turn up, and also turn down and turn off, because you can really destroy your whole life by being wide open all the time.
I also am I'm like your daughter, and people think consignment shops are fabulous, and I'm like, I'll just wait outside. Because people are sometimes still attached to their stuff. And also there's just so much energy sometimes in objects. I find that touch, like Ken said, there's lots of different ways to connect. and touch is one way, but sometimes it's not people's preferred way. And so it might be really easy for someone to like hold my hand, and then another person just doesn't even want that at all. My biggest connection point is people's names. So once I know your name, and you give me permission, I can usually kind of like go in and figure things out. But I don't need touch either, I don't think.
I think I understood your question a little bit differently. I think I understood it as like running energy as a healing energy. Is that what you were asking? Or more psychometry like this?
Well, you guys are all covered.
Okay, perfect.
Because to me, energy is within the chair.
Yeah,
Energy was within a table. Totally. It's been sitting in Grandma's house for 30 years.
for sure.
Energy is in the DIs.
So he's saying energy is in everything. It's in the chair, it's in the table at grandma's house, that energy is imbued everywhere. Right.
The touch of energy is something that's very sacred. When you're touching, when you're working on something, all you're doing is confirming what I can feel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, great. So a couple things. One, I thought there were a lot of rules to touch. It took me a long time to get okay with running energy the way that works for me. And that's why I'm so big about learning about you and how it works for you instead of what we're saying works for us. This is what works for me or Ken or Kathy. Jen and Kathy and I are all Reiki masters. We all run energy all the time. Jen has other skills, Kathy has other skills, and I do it differently. None of us do it the same. We all have adapted and have our own mode of how to run energy that benefits the client best. And Ken does different, it's not Reiki trained, it's a totally different kind of healing. And we all do remote viewing. And yes, the chair has energy, and I have energy, and you have energy. It's all about energy manipulation and connecting to, I see it more as vibration. So if I attune to the right vibration, we're attuned. I can attune to the chair, or to the window, or a puppy, or you. That attunement is what can, then we can see where there's misalignment in your body, or I can get information from a box of what was the energy of that thing in that moment, and enter that time and space that left the mark on the object. So I kind of do it like that. And then two more things I want to say really fast, or actually just one more. I think having skills to ground and protect, which Kathy has kind of talked around. Ken wrote a book on that. It's called Get Your Shit Together. And that's where we should start, is getting grounded, getting those things taken care of first before we go around touching things. Or if you are already receiving an overwhelming of information, learn to do that before you go to a secondhand store. All right. Next question.
Oh, we have two up here in the front.
Who first? Yep.
Okay. So to build psychic ability or even mediumship, I saw something online, and I want to know how you guys each feel about it. I mean, basically, there's like a card, and you're supposed to visualize what's underneath. And then later you come back and, maybe I visualized an ace or a king of hearts or something, and flip over, and I'm like, I'm wrong. Or then they'd have like a box, and I try to visualize what's in that box. And I have yet to be able to do that. Is this a good technique? Are there better ones, or is this a good starting point?
Can I? Yeah. Did you want to be a sideshow at a circus? Because those tricks are parlor tricks for me. I don't think that's a bad way to develop. I don't think it is the most effective and efficient way, because it completely negates all of the other intuition and instinct that you've had throughout the day that was right. It's trying to develop remote viewing, it's trying to develop these other things, and I think that's good. I've used that technique in a mediumship class I taught. And the thing I think we have to start with, which is in the book, by the way, is keeping track of all the times that you trusted yourself. I don't even care what it was about. You just need to make a little hashtag. And it's a whole page of them. And after 30 days, if you trusted your intuition or your instinct, and you have 30 of those, that goes much further in your confidence, which is the one thing you need to be able to interact with your gifts in a really effective way, I think. I think that's where we should start versus these other things that I didn't mean to be an ass. Well, I am an asshole, but it just feels to me like it's a parlor trick. It feels like, oh, look what I can do. I think I had a conversation with an apprentice of mine today. Don't do it just to see if you can do it. Do it because there's a purpose behind it. Like, I need to align with your energy to help you ground right now because you're you're having a freak out. You will be able to do it in that instance because you're open to doing it, not because, let me see if I can do this. And I think that's where we miss the mark in our own training, is that you've already been doing it for a very long time. Don't discount that.
I have seen those too, and I actually have done things like that on TikToks and things like that. I think they're great if you're trying to develop clairvoyance, but sometimes if you have a different dominant sense, it can just make you feel like, how come I don't get this? So even if I get those right, it's because a thought dropped into my head and said, oh, whatever it is, it's blue. Or that kind of thing. So I think it's more about paying attention to how the information comes through than it is trying to actually visualize and see if that works. Because maybe you'll hear something, maybe you'll feel something, maybe you'll get like a sensation and it'll tell you you're on the right track. And also, I think Ken's right that it's really important to play with intuition because we get really worried about getting it right. And not all of your intuition, in fact, 90% of your intuition is not going to be life and death stuff. It's going to be a lot of things that are just going to help you navigate your life a little easier. And if we're worried about getting things right, then we get too much in our heads. But if we're worried about just kind of trusting where things lead us, or a feeling we had, or an inkling, or whatever you want to call it, then you can follow those little breadcrumbs and be open to see where they lead. And I think that's helpful. So you might want to try other exercises, not just the visualization ones, if that makes sense.
There are also a lot of healing modalities that can help you change your mind about whether it's safe to be psychic. Many of us have early childhood conditioning to not do it and to be punished for delivering messages. So there is value in maybe doing sentence stem work. If I do this, if I know this, what's the bad thing that's going to happen? And just acknowledge all those negative emotions that come up. Tapping is a great one. There's rapid eye therapy, there's hypnosis, there are a lot of ways. Even just journaling can help you release what's in the way of your native capacities. And then, yes, start with things that don't matter. So when I was learning muscle testing, I was like, which box of cereal, which apples should go home with us? And I learned to just trust what my body was saying me, this one, not that one. And I don't need to stay and figure out why I don't bring that apple home, and just go with the one that my body said yes to. And so gradual, which order do I do my errands in? I don't know why it matters, but I'm willing to follow that impulse. And then I'm in the habit, so that when it is important and it's a right now, go do this thing, I'm already open and attuned to, oh, that's my body talking to me. That's my team getting my attention to say, turn left. And I'm like, what are we doing? Where are we going?
I really love the book, The Psychic Witch by Matt Arn is really wonderful. And some of the advice that they give in that book is to spend a day being a psychic. This means guess what card it is and then put it back in the deck. Don't even check to see if you were right or wrong. Trust yourself. Let yourself believe that that's what it was, and you'll slowly start to rebuild that self-trust, because everyone so far has kind of mentioned it, but if you trust yourself, those instincts, those messages that you feel in your body, that is being psychic. It's the confidence that Jennifer has that she can sit up here and answer these questions that is so hard for the rest of us, myself included. But it's just that, like, starting to really trust. Do you trust yourself to pay your bills on time? Do you trust yourself to go to bed when you say you're going to go to bed? Do you trust yourself to give your time to rest when you need to rest? Build your self-trust in all of these scenarios, and that psychic gift will be there with you, because that is that little piece of you that's giving you that information.
And yes, and right. I think that, how do I want to say this? I think that a lot of the problem with testing gifts is there is no purpose and meaning, like Ken said, and I agree with Jennifer, right? What's your way? And all of these ways of testing and becoming, it's just about what are you using it for? Why do you want to be psychic? What are you looking for? What's the information? Is it just so I can be psychic? And yeah, so often I find the information shows up when it's necessary and not before. So a lot of it will just kind of, it doesn't hit the same way. When it's necessary, you've probably already had that in your life where you just had to do something. And there's not a reason why, and you did it. And how was that communicated with you? Was it from a dream? Did you get inspiration? How did it show up for you? Did you see a sign out in the wild because you were like, oh, tulips are my mom's favorite flower, right? You already have intuition that's working. Start there and then develop it from there. So if it's dreams, keep a dream journal. Set intentions before you go to sleep. There's a ton of tools, and if you know the way that you're receiving your intuition, Google that. How do I increase intuition like this? And you will probably get a flood of information, or, come get a reading from a psychic and they can help you with maybe a more specific tool. And then Jennifer and I have a podcast that's called Modern Mystic, and we devote several episodes to claiming your spiritual authority and how to connect with guides and some other intuition exercises. So keep your eye out for that.
Real quick. So, going back to the card, okay? I'm glad. Thank you. I'm always grateful to be next to these magnificent people because they're always pushing me. And so, the Jack of Diamonds is a red card, right? So, yes. So. You may be picking up on the red, not the Jack of Diamonds. You may be picking up on a mustache when only one of the red kings has one. So what I'm saying is, in my class, when I gave them this exercise, I thought it was a simple picture. It was a family sitting in a car. Well, the person who's looking at it, trying to project, thank you, that image out, tied emotion to it because it was a family in a car. My students didn't pick up on, it's a family in a car. They picked up on the emotion that the person was putting out. So you never know what you're picking up. That's why it's very important to start building your dictionary of psychic symbols, which includes colors, shapes, sounds, scent, any of those things, because you might be picking it, you might be exactly right every time. You're just, the thing that's coming up to you is not Jack of Diamonds.
Yes.
Next, yeah.
Okay, so when you're doing a reading for someone to support them, right? If you intuit something that you intuit may harm them more than do them good, what do you do with that?
Yeah, we're all like,
So I always am calling in my team of helpers to talk to their team of helpers. So it's their job to do the translations, and I know that I have years of practice talking to my team. And so if I stumble on it, I will ask them, is this something for me to know, or is this something for me to share? Because sometimes having a knowledge about something will help me shape the way I'm sharing other things, or ask them a question to help them open up a different avenue. Because sometimes people come in and they want to talk about this thing, but their team wants them to talk about this whole other stuff. And so, yes, it is an ongoing adaptation to be present with the person in front of you. What can they hear today? And I've also seen it go the other way, where I knew exactly what to say and how to say it, and I watched them blank out and lose it. They couldn't keep it. I'm like, oh, weird. So on the one hand, it's not up to us. If the message is coming through, that's what we share, and then we'll see if the person picks it up. I actually prefer to read for people I don't know, so that I'm less biased about trying to be nice to them. Because I know for myself, the friend that kept soothing me kept me in my relationship way beyond when it was expired. And I needed someone who would just say, Kathy, stop it. You know this is killing you. Get out. And I didn't have that. I had a friend sugarcoating everything. Yeah? So.
Go ahead.
Okay. Another thing is, if you're doing readings for others, they automatically, it just happens, and we all, I know every single person up here well, we all try really hard to not accept the authority that they try and hand us. Tell me what I should do. I will receive through, and I will trust that you're ready to receive what I'm receiving because you asked the question. I'm a pretty blunt person. I don't sugarcoat. It's not my skill. I have other skills, not that one. And a few times I will have received information, and it literally won't come out of my mouth. And I've asked for that. I've said, if this will harm and doesn't help, it's okay that I can know it. I don't have to share everything I know, right? Having a filter is a good thing. And so I've asked for that filter to be placed, but I also work it just like Kathy. I never work just with you. I always work with your deepest or highest self. That's who I'm working with. And they're in charge. And that's your soul or your spark or whatever you want to call that. That's who I'm actually interacting with when I'm doing a reading for someone. And they get to decide what I will share and what I won't share. And I agree with Ken earlier that yes, we all have gifts, but not everyone is meant to read for others until you know how to ground you, until you understand there is a responsibility, there is accountability in delivering those readings. Maybe you're not quite ready to do that yet. Not saying that you're doing that. Okay.
I sort of reject the premise of your question, because I think if someone's coming to me and they want to know something, I don't know that it would harm them, because people give us permission to be in their space, in their timelines, in all of those things. So although I do think a lot of people just literally think I'm going to tell them when they're going to die, so those people just don't come. They're just like, I don't want to know, And also, I don't know why you would want to know when you're going to die, but that's like a whole other side conversation. So I don't really think that. I think what I'm supposed to do is deliver the message the way it comes through, not what I think it should be, not what I, not even like finessing it too much, if that makes sense. Usually if someone's in front of me, their team is telling me how they get information best too. So sometimes I talk in a lot of metaphors, and that helps people, and other people are like, oh my God, just tell me. And so I feel like it's not just what I say, but even the delivery gets guided. So I don't feel like I can harm people if they've given me permission to be there. Does that make sense?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think these are all great points. For me, one thing that I have noticed is that sometimes information will come up, but I just don't have a word to get it out, and that's usually when it's like, okay, this is supposed to help me inform whatever situation I'm reading for, but I don't need to tell it to them, and that's okay, and I'll give them what is important about that through other words, because those other aspects are what becomes highlighted. So sometimes that has happened, but for the most part, I think everyone else has nailed it.
Because, like what just happened, I'm trying to sometimes hear what I'm supposed to say. What's funny to me is that people, if I pause, they're like, just tell me. Like, they know it's going to be bad. Like, just tell me. And I'm like, what is it that you would like me? I thought you didn't want to talk about anything, but apparently you have something very vivid that you would like to talk about. And it's probably your partner who is, I'm just kidding. I'm cheating on you. No, I'm just kidding. But I think the interesting thing is that I have it written in my statement of ethics on my website, what I will and what I won't do. The most important thing to me is that I stay in integrity with my gift. If I start filtering it and stop it, that's not acceptable to me, and it doesn't honor all the work that not only I but are doing to communicate with me. And most of the time, people don't hear us anyway. When it's like, she left you for a reason, didn't she? Yeah, but when's she coming back? You didn't even hear me. But yeah, I know, but like, we're soulmates. Not according to my runes. But so it's funny because I joke. I have to joke about this because it's sometimes frustrating. But I think we all accept. I think we have to accept the minute you sit down in front of me, I can offend you because you didn't eat enough today, because you didn't sleep last night, because someone cut you off earlier, and I can't control any of that. What I can control is my alignment and my gift rolling through, like a stream, delivering the stuff that you're asking about or needing to hear. You have time for like one more? Oh, you're gonna have to duke it out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. So someone that's still like building their gifts and stuff like that, when trying to think of the best way to explain it, how can you discern from like your own personal like thoughts, imagination compared to actual true and true divine?
You're talking about the sock puppets in your head.
Yes.
How do I decide what are my sock puppets and what is actually me or my intuition? I think the number one thing you have to do is buy my book, get your shit together, 101. I can't tell you, the reason I wrote that damn book was because I had so many people come to me over the years who don't have a baseline for how to do self-care. And so they have zero boundaries. Spirits don't respect, humans don't respect boundaries, but you have to be able to have a boundary and hold it. So I think you have to start with that, knowing what's you and what is everything else. You have to be able to discern that, and that is centering, grounding, energy work, energy cleansing, taking care of your body, making sure that you're fed, you've slept, your body is in good working order so it's not messing with your head or your emotions. You have to understand your emotions, not be emotional, but understand and have really good interaction with them and relationship. And then I think the next thing would be to go to things like muscle testing, or a simple divination where it's a 3-stone divination where one's a yes, one's a no, one's the signifier. And do very simple things to help reinforce those behaviors. I think it does us a disservice to jump right to, let's go into a secondhand store and start reading all of the good, fun antiques that are in there that you actually don't even know the answer to because no one does, right? So it doesn't help. So I think you have to start with the very basic things because knowing you will be able to help you know the difference between others and you, and then your sock puppets and you.
Like Ken said, verifiable, right? That's what we're talking about. If you want to know that you're right, how will you know that you're right? Is it something that you can verify? If you're asking, should I turn left or right? You will never know what happened on the way you didn't turn. So those are hard to verify ways of practicing. So do you have a buddy you can practice with? Like having an intuition buddy that you're helping each other grow skills where you can practice with each other is something. But often it's just about confidence. Trusting that you know, and remembering how many other times, like we've said to other people, when have you known something that you shouldn't have known? How did it work then? That wasn't a sock puppet and you know it. What did you do? Duplicate that and start testing. You can meditate, you can dream, you do whatever way it worked for you, it will work that way again. You already know it works that way.
I'm going to give you a different answer. Perfect. I'm just like dissenting with all of you. I'm sorry.
This is why we do this. That's perfect.
Actually, that's not true. I think there are two ways that you can tell the difference between your intuition and your own inner critic or fear. One is the form, because intuition is pretty direct and pretty short. It doesn't give us like 15 steps. It goes, go turn right at the stoplight, call your mom, that kind of thing, right? And our thoughts are like, I wonder if I should call my mom today. And they're very like, I just talked to her last week and why would I need to call her again? And like, so our thoughts are very like long and meandery, and intuition is like, this is what you do, right? So it's focused on what you do. It's usually kind of short and it's almost always directive. Do this, don't do that. The other way you can tell is that the tone of the message is very different. Judgment is not what intuition is. I have very sarcastic guides, so I hear sarcasm really quickly from them, but usually you're judging yourself. Your intuition isn't judging you, right? You are. And also, if the word should keeps coming up, that is almost always focused on what other people expect. And intuition cares about what you should do, what's best for you to do now, not what other people are going to think down the road or that kind of thing. So it's very, very much about like being very direct and also just being like very focused on what you need to do. And so honestly, just play with it. Like the next time you think, was that my intuition? Go, well, was it short or did it take me like 18 years to get to it? Or, was it really judgy or was it kind of peaceful and resolute? That kind of thing. So those are kind of the two things that I look at. And unfortunately, I feel like I only figured that out in retrospect. So like in the moment, now I know the difference really well. But if I went back and kind of looked at things, I would have been like, yeah, I'm not sure there, but that seemed like it. And, so just play with it.
Muscle testing has helped me a lot, but at this point, if I have a doubt, that's my answer, that it's a no. And then one of the best things I ever learned was to call my team to stand closest to me and everyone else back up so that my team is who I'm talking to all the time. And that's always going to be peaceful. That's always going to be kind. The same way the GPS just says recalculating and never cusses you. That's your team also. The other energies that pick at you or help you feel bad about yourself, that's not your intuition.
Yeah, and I oftentimes I feel like intuition for me will come through in a feeling, and that's a little bit harder to be like, oh, there was doubt in that feeling. But I will kind of sit with the feeling, like if it's a knot in my stomach, and I'll be like, is this for me? And I'll just kind of see if it goes away, or I'll flip a coin. That's when muscle testing is really great, or the yes/no divination that Ken talked about, and just taking those moments to like tune in. I really loved what Lola said about taking the moments to be quiet and recreating those times for that conversation to happen, because it doesn't always happen in a crowded room with people walking around. Sometimes it is, Jennifer has great advice of just like take a moment in the shower every morning to check in and have that be kind of like that reach into your intuitive self, because it's a quiet time. You're not on your phone. There's nothing else to do. Like, just sit with it and let that resonate and like see where it feels in your body, and just start give yourself more opportunities to interact with it, and you'll get to know it a lot better.
I want to add one little addendum. I'm going to dissent from Jennifer's dissent. We're going to keep going. Okay. It took me forever. And I mean, I was probably late 20s. I would just say things to people, and I would walk away and start shaking. Why did I say that? And I would beat myself up. Like, it's going to make me cry. It was traumatic, because it just out my mouth, these things would come. And then later people would come to me, oh my God, that changed my life. I had no idea Spirit was speaking through me. And it didn't feel any different than my thought. It was not more short. It sounded just like my voice. And so I had to test that, and I had to get enough evidence back that this is what that sounds like. And it is almost indiscernible inside of me, between me and Spirit. So some of us that have a little tighter, it can be hard. I agree with Jennifer for the most part. There are times where it's sharp and clear, but if you are prone to self-doubt, you can spend years beating yourself up. So test it so you don't have to go through that hell. All right, amendment done.
So, if you have a ton of ideas now about things that you need to maybe add to your own owner's manual, like we've all given you ideas from our owner's manual. Now go try them, right? And if you want to have more time with anybody up here, Modern Mystic booth is downstairs next to mine, number 4 in the corner by me. And I thank you for all of your questions. We appreciate you being up here with us and listening, and we look forward to having further conversations with you.